Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for the Customer Marketing Summit. As we prepare to unleash another exciting session, we just want to say a massive thank you to all our partners, sponsors, you, and our ensemble of speakers and participants for helping us bring this pioneering event to life. As you probably saw, we were delighted to announce the winner of the Customer Marketing Excellence Award a little earlier today. Missed it? Well, don't worry, because we will be briefly hearing from the winner after this session, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We had a great time reviewing all your fantastic nominations. Thank you again for taking the time to share those with us. I hope you are finding today's sessions insightful, and I want to remind you that the learnings don't stop here. If you haven't already, you can upgrade your pass to include access to all today's sessions on demand. Or you can become a PMA member and benefit from unlimited access to exclusive templates, frameworks, and our entire back catalogue of event content. And remember, this is your chance to get involved. Please share your feedback and questions in the comments section for our speakers to answer. It really is that simple. Now, back to the sessions.
Hey everyone, my name is David Aragri, and I'm here with Kalina Bryant to talk about customer advocacy and to give you some key ideas of how you can, design relationships, understand the key principles of customer advocacy to scale these executive programs and the impact and influence of revenue. But before we get started, I just want to introduce myself and to explain a little bit more about what we do here. So I'm David, of course. I'm the founder of GrowHack Scale. It's a growth enablement platform that enables revenue-focused marketing teams or revenue teams with the technology, processes, and frameworks needed to deliver real-world business results. And I'd like to pass you over to Kalina, who can introduce herself.
Thank you, David. I'm excited to be here. And thanks for the introduction. As you mentioned, I will be discussing the key principles of customer advocacy and how we really design our relationships, how we scale our executive programs, and the impact and influence it really makes on creating our customer champions. And so what I mean by that is, customer advocacy is the heart of our business and a special ingredient on how we nurture, grow, and retain our customers. And so in today's discussion, I will highlight how to scope your customer advocacy programs, the importance of working cross-functionally, and also discussing how to design processes for your key stakeholders to establish strong, lasting key relationships, and really showcase the value of your product across the organization, and an overview of executive programs, which will lead creating enthusiastic customer champions, no matter where you're located. And also we'll touch on how to really, navigate things and how to also outline your customer advocacy toolkit and really structure which programs you're going to be leveraging at the right time. So we'll really get into how to design your customer advisory board, your executive briefing center, your executive sponsorship program, and really the big one, executive roundtables. And then, if we have time, we'll really touch on, how to design programs in a distributed setting. And so really excited to be here and kick things off, David.
Right, yeah, that makes perfect sense. You made a great point about, given the world that we're all adjusting to with COVID, especially. I noticed that Asana recently launched the Autonomy of Work program, and this must have played a huge role in customer advocacy. Could you probably explain a little bit about how Asana has created this index, this Autonomy of Work index, and what you've seen with how people are working globally and how they're working together in a remote setting?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, David. Actually, when I joined Asana, we were really outlining a big report earlier this year. It was, Asana released an in-depth analysis into how people spend time at work and the factors shaping those habits. And we called it the Anatomy of Work Index. It found that despite organizations' best efforts to recreate what worked in the office in a remote setting, global workers are struggling to stay aligned and connected. And so on my end, I really took that information and really scoped out how can I best benefit our customers and how can we feed this information to them to, number one, get them to continue to thrive, but also provide them information so they understand that they're not in this alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds absolutely fantastic. And I'd encourage everyone who's watching this to take a look at that, and to really see, what they could take of value from, so that we can understand how we're working during this time in the pandemic, and trying slowly to come out of that, and how the world has just changed so much. So with regards to that, and in addition, talking about customer advocacy overall, what would you say are some of the key principles of customer advocacy?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I would say, as we think about our key principles, especially in the times that we're living in right now, I had to take a step back actually. And what I thought about first is, when outlining our strategy of customer advocacy at Asana, we had to think through different lenses. So in the absence of in-person events, storytelling, and delivering valuable insights to our customers, we wanted to make sure that stayed at top of mind. So when we launched the Anatomy of Work Index, I really thought about how can we talk about essential work? How do we get our customers together to find value? And so given the state of COVID and our current restrictions, I outlined making sure we put our customers first and creating a customer-centric experience, creating an engaging experience that worked for leaders as they navigated through this distributed side of things. And then really importantly, providing a networking opportunity for them, regardless of where people are located. And so, one of our biggest models here at Asana is we think it's important to remember there is no one size fits all. And so we really try to think about what's going to be best for our customers, and what's going to put them in the best situation to thrive and build and be innovative. And so with that, when I thought about our key principles, I started thinking about number one, we have to engage key stakeholders. Number two, we have to gather insights. And number three, we have to build a compelling story, not just for us, but really for our customers. We want to make sure that they are, of course, top of mind, but they can thrive in any industry, they can thrive in any environment, and they're set up for success. So when thinking about those three components, and going into a little deeper on the key stakeholders, when I think about that, for customer advocacy to succeed, customer insights must be top of mind for the business, and it must be tracked at every level. So all the primary stakeholders must be informed and involved to ensure intelligence, and ensure that we get the right results at the right time to provide the best customer experience. So for us, Asana stakeholders, it's our customers, our business partners, our employees. And so with the support of our champions, which is our kind of top of the line customers, we get full customer feedback, and we take that feedback from our customers and we really embed that into the culture here at Asana, all the way from looking at our product, all the way from looking at how we navigate, making sure we provide the best experience for our customers. And so that is top of mind for us because our stakeholders allow us to give us critical feedback, but really allow us to navigate and go into the right direction going forward. And so I'll kind of pause there, see if you have any additional questions before we kind of go into a deeper dive with the other principles.
Yeah, for sure. To start off with, I just wanted to say that it shows just how important it is to take care of customers in general. I do see a lot of SaaS companies who they talk a bit about we care about our customers, but they don't actually deliver on that from the top down. I describe myself as a customer-led growth engineer, so I'm kind of dealt with speaking to customers, finding out what their key problems they're struggling with, and trying to help them, whether that's through the product, whether that's via community or via other ways. So yeah, what other insights would you say that you've seen at Asana with regards to customer advocacy and trying to get a full understanding of how that can work in your brand?
Definitely. So when thinking about our best practices, especially for engaging our stakeholders, we're thinking about how can we share with customers, what they've learned, and then the commitments that they have. But really, making sure that we create new channels for our customers at Asana to have full control, and actually have full open space to provide feedback. And then also creating new ways for us to really showcase that information across the company. And then lastly, really just creating new ways to translate critical insights. That's big for us because with our customers giving us this feedback, we actually know how to continue designing products that will benefit them, and making sure that they are set up for success. But that really ties into gathering the insights. And so when thinking about our insights at Asana, customers are our number one inspiration. And being a customer centric company, we understand that customer advocacy is a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
It takes time, right? And Rome wasn't built overnight, and neither is customer advocacy. And so customer advocacy means businesses continuously get feedback from customers, and they continuously reiterate to make sure that we're showcasing the right information. And then really with Asana's advocacy toolkit, our programs allow us to connect with our valuable customers and gain the insights and then be able to act on the insights given. And so really
Right.
to bring leaders across key organizations and discuss their findings, their concerns, we actually launched our first peer-to-peer leadership roundtable, which actually included a really nice wine tasting experience. And that's thinking about if we bring back our anatomy of work, we really saw some of the key findings that highlighted, burnout is one of the biggest things, right? It's on a rise. We have 71% of workers experiencing burnout in 2020. And the number of employees working late rose to 87. Yeah, it rose to 87%, which is bizarre, right? And then thinking about distributed work is delaying deadlines. There's unnecessary meetings, 1 hour each week. And there's too many tools. When I was reading the report, it really showcases that people are switching from 10 apps, to 25 times per day. And so when I was thinking about our roundtables and when Asana was really outlining how do we continue to engage our customers, we thought, what's going to separate us from another Zoom meeting when thinking about our peer-to-peer roundtables? And we picked a time, we picked key findings that was going to help them along the way. We didn't talk about the product, we talked about them. We put them first, which I think separates our roundtables from anyone else's. And it was a really great turnout. We actually had 100% attendance. We received great, we received great feedback. Our customers that asked for more. They thought it was an opportunity for them to, number one, connect with their peers. On our side, we received those insights. Right, it was everything that you do in customer advocacy is a bit of a gamble in the beginning, and you're just doing trial and error. But each time you do an event or any type of program, you're gaining these insights that's coming directly from your customers. And so it allows you to continue growing in the right direction. So I would definitely say that our customers want to be put in a room, regardless if it's virtual or in person, with like-minded individuals and with an opportunity to network and an opportunity to actually give us feedback. And I think that that's one of the most important things when we think about our insights. And then lastly, it helps us really go to the final principle, which is building a compelling story. I think that with advocacy, that goes hand in hand. Customer advocacy utilizes those insights, but how do we turn that into a compelling story that benefits our customers? And so I think it might be one of the most important segments because it allows us to amplify our customer voices. So when they give us this feedback, we just don't put it in a secret box. We actually take that information and do something good with it that benefits them long term.
Right, that makes sense. And this actually kind of reminds me that product marketing and customer advocacy is quite similar, because within product marketing, it's all about building that compelling story, that strategic narrative, and trying to make sure that we use the language that our customers are using within our messaging. And by doing that, we're actually finding that customers, if we can resonate better with our customers, we get better results. And so to follow on from that, how can someone build a successful advocacy program? And let's say if I'm starting today, if you was to have a successful advocacy program, how does that directly impact your customer marketing strategy and ultimately generate revenue for you as an organization?
Yeah, so I have a few components that I like to stick to. The biggest one is understanding the business and product and customer needs first. When we outline our strategy here at Asana. Of course, we keep our customers top of mind, but we also look at the product and where we are, and we look at the business, and most importantly, we look at the needs of our customers, and from there we start scoping. And then having a clear understanding of what customer advocacy programs you have and what you know can work well for the size of your company, for the type of customers is important. And then understanding what other teams have already done with your customers. You don't want to recreate the wheel. So really understanding and teaming up with your customer marketing team, with your community team, with your customer success, and understanding what do you know has already worked well, and what are you looking to design that you haven't had the bandwidth to do so. And then once you have that, it creates a better landscape for you to actually work cross-functionally and understand who your key partners are, working cross-functionally to make sure that the programs are seamless and scalable, but making sure that your customers are benefiting at every level. And then also lastly, really outlining the program guardrails. I think that every program that you design at Asana, we are really cautious of the guardrails that we provide to make sure that we are providing the best experience for our customers, but also making sure that if we launch a new program, that it's going to be scalable, it's going to be sufficient, and ultimately it's going to go back to our principles of getting great customer insights, building that executive relationship, and getting those key sponsors, and long-term building the compelling story that will not just benefit customer advocacy, but benefit our entire organization, in a sense of our customer marketing team who amplifies our customers, our customer success team who goes hand in hand in making sure that their customers are successful, and then also back to our sales organization, making sure that they understand the full journey of their pipeline and who they're talking to and what's going to be engaging for them. And so it comes full circle. So I would say understanding the business, understanding what programs you want to roll out, but what is needed at that time, and understanding who are your partners. You can't do advocacy alone. It's definitely a team effort, and you have to work cross-functionally.
And this is something that I find to be quite interesting as well, is the idea of working cross-functionally, having marketing teams and sales teams, and the whole marketing sales alignment dilemma that is talked about a lot. And I'm now starting to see more marketing sales teams starting to be real advocates for the CS teams as well, the CS and support teams. I think when we all work together, at the end of the day, we're all working towards the same goal. And I think the more that we're able to do that, the better. And so coming off of that, could you walk us through how you would start to plan and begin setting up an executive customer program, so to speak?
Yeah, of course. So I would actually look at some of the data, right? And look at what do we want to accomplish first. I try to look strongly at what our NPS scores looks like already, what our CSAT scoring looks like. And then I meet a good amount with our sales, CS, and marketing teams to really scope out what's going to work well for our customers. And then outlining a detailed budget and scoping that is top of mind. So let's just say one of the biggest programs that we've launched so far is our executive peer-to-peer roundtables. They happen on a monthly basis, and we really take a step back and look at the demand of our customers, but we also look at the content that we're publishing on a regular basis that will be beneficial for our customers. And so if we think about our anatomy of work, that has been working well for us because it allows us to have our customers talk about what's really going on with them and how to navigate the industry. And so that one is important because some roundtables you never want to be sold to, right? Especially in these environments. And so I'm very cautious when designing our executive programs for customer advocacy because I want customers to feel valued and I want them to take notes and actually feel as though they gained something that they couldn't get anywhere else. And so with our roundtables, we sketch out what's going to be top of mind, but we also send surveys to our customers in advance. And we look at that tailored list of customers that we know will be great and beneficial in that room together as peers. And when they actually say, yes, I'm excited to attend this roundtable, I go ahead and as a team, we tailor out a survey highlighting what we plan to talk about, but also giving the opportunity to the customers to add what they would like to cover as well. And along with our survey, we send out the Anatomy at Work Index report in this case. They have an opportunity to review that report and challenge us a bit and ask compelling questions that they would love to have covered in that roundtable. So when we come together, some of these individuals, they're on different sides of the country, but they all have the same thing in common of understanding what's going to be talked about, understanding the pains that they want to address. So it's a very intimate conversation, and it's filled with that networking component. And so really we're taking a step back and looking at, number one, how do we get our customers engaged? How do we give them what they need? But then three, how do we utilize all of the positive and impactful work that we're doing as a team? So when you bring those two things together, that's how you're really able to create these successful, engaging programs that don't just take place one time, but they actually become a series. And you actually can say, hey, this is a functionable program that's going to last throughout the times, regardless of how distributed our work world is. And I think that that's the importance of customer advocacy, when you can thrive and cater to your customers, regardless of if we're in person or virtual. We're able to still provide them the content that they need to be successful and the relationship opportunity for them to thrive and create those peer-to-peer relationships that they wouldn't be able to do so without such an impactful program.
And that's exactly what I love, the fact that, with a good customer advocacy program, you can build these close relationships with your customers. Because I've always come from the school of thought that if you look after your customers well, then not only will they continue to pay you for years to come, but they will also start to refer other people to your brand as well. And so it's just all about taking care of your customers from the beginning to the end. So I imagine that building a customer advocacy program or any executive customer program, you're going to need some kind of essential tools, at least to make sure that it's successful. So what would you say are some of the most essential tools that a successful customer advocacy team needs to have to be able to function? And does this just include software, or is there specific elements needed?
Yeah. So from a software perspective, here at Asana, we use our own tool. So I would say that it's extremely important to have a work management tool that can work cross-functionally, and you can actually track on a regular basis and feel confident that when you shut your laptop off, everyone is aligned and you're still progressing. So I would say make sure you have that tool, especially in every environment that you're in. You want to make sure everyone stays on track. But then within that, that's from a tool component. You have to think about, from an advocacy perspective, you're working cross-functionally a good amount of time. So having monthly team check-ins with the right teams is going to be important for you to stay on track with your deadline, and to also make sure that the information is communicated to all of your important teams that are going to be sort of having a hand in your program. And so that leads me to, you need visibility. And so when thinking about having our project in Asana, everyone has visibility into, let's say, our roundtables. They understand who's being invited, how long the event will be, the surprise and delight, the expectations, what does good look like, feedback, etc. It all lives in one project. And so all the way from our CMO can look at that project, all the way from individual contributors, so they all stay on track. And then I think it's really important to understand what your numbers are, your goals are of engagement. Sometimes you want to outline these goals, of course, in advance, but what does good look like in your eyes? Sometimes that could just be the acceptance in attendance, right? And also looking at the ratio of, if someone says, yes, I'm going to come to your customer advocacy program, whether that's a executive briefing or a roundtable or one-to-one, looking at that ratio of how many people actually say yes, but also how many people actually commit and show up, that's a big impact. And then really also understanding the content roadmap and your product roadmap. I think that you can't be successful with customer advocacy if you don't understand how to communicate your product roadmap and your content. That goes hand in hand, and feeding that information to your customers will set them up for success as well, because they can give that feedback and making sure that everyone's going in the right direction. And then really understanding how you can transition your programs, regardless of what type of distributed workplace you're in. So that's where I think the product information and the content comes into place, because you can communicate that information regardless of if it's going to be a remote Zoom engagement, or if it's going to
Yeah.
be at some point that in person, the content is still relevant, the product is still relevant, and the feedback from your customers is still top of mind.
Right. Yeah. This is awesome to know. Like a few weeks ago, I worked for organizations where we had done things like customer advisory boards and building out some customer advocacy programs, but I had no idea what were the actual metrics. So it was good to hear you explain what that is and why it's so important. But I remember we mentioned a little bit about getting stakeholder buy-in, or at least marketing, sales, and CS alignment. So in order to be successful, I understand that would you agree that customer programs need to be understood and supported by a good number of functions across the entire company? And if so, what are some good techniques and processes, if any, that you've seen to achieve that cross-functional stakeholder buy-in?
Hmm. Yeah, that's really great, David. And on our end, we think about a business as a whole, right? When we think about our business goals and our OKRs for the year, the quarter, half a year, you name it, we're thinking about that in a team perspective. And so for me, when we're thinking about our customer advocacy programs, I look at what is going to be best and top of mind for our business. And then from there, we work together to outline what does good look like. So let's just throw a potential business metric out there of, hey, we want to build deeper relationships with some of our best customers. And that's just a high level OKR. But then on my end, I think about, okay, if we want to build these relationships, we need to work together to, number one, identify the accounts and the customers we want to start to engage with. And then two, we need to work hand in hand with the people that are actually in the field. So our field marketing team, our sales individuals, our customer success. And we actually outline what are your goals. And so if there's a certain number of accounts that they're working with, how do we actually help you nurture those accounts to make sure you find success? And then lastly, when you take all of that together, we can actually feel confident of, hey, we're going to launch 3, customer engaging programs. And each one of these programs will influence the development of our relationships for the business. And if we receive 100% of engagement with X, Y, and Z, program, then we not only meet our number from a customer advocacy perspective, but our cross-functional teams can feel confident that they're going to hit their goals. And from a business perspective, we all are aligned with that one common goal of, hey, design and create better engaging relationships.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, and especially with the part of translating those in-person experiences, and building those relationships with identifying those accounts and building relationships with them. I think that's really important, and I don't think, even as a marketer, I don't think we do enough of that, or at least enough support for the customer support and CS teams and customer advocacy teams with regards to that level of work. So I love hearing about that. And let's say if I just started and I built out a customer advocacy program and it's in place now, what specific metrics are you using to prove the value and ROI of the program, so that I can say, okay, this is providing good value to us. We should keep doing this for months and years to come.
Mm-hmm. So for us, we really measure how many new champions have we confirmed throughout the journey of our program. So let's just say number of relationships developed is definitely key and top of mind. And also looking at your CSAT and NPS score within the account, I think that is extremely tangible and easy to measure. And I think that hand in hand, you should be looking at those NPS scores and CSAT scores when looking at your programs and looking at the customers involved in those programs. You should feel confident that, of course, the NPS and CSAT is either stagnant in a positive area, or it's constantly going up as they engage. And then really, I think the biggest part is the level of engagement and participation within each program. And so when you're thinking about customer advocacy, most of the times your programs, it's a pilot, right? It's a first time rolling it out, and you get this big engagement and you think you did a wonderful job with, let's say, your customer advisory board, your executive sponsorship program, your roundtable. It's wonderful, right? the thing is you have to make sure it's scalable. So if you
Mhm.
do it one time, that's fine. That was a trial and error. But can you confidently say this is a program that happens consistently on a monthly cadence, a quarterly
Mhm.
cadence, half year cadence? The most important thing is, can you repeatedly say this program is providing value? And number two, can you repeatedly say that your customers are all in and they're showing up and they're constantly engaging, demanding more? I
Mhm.
think that that is the honestly one of the best ways to track your customer advocacy programs, because with engagement comes happy customers. With happy customers comes raving fans. With raving
Mhm.
fans comes a thriving business.
Mhm. I absolutely love that. Yeah, it's the perfect trifecta of it all. And like customer advisory boards and customer advocacy programs has definitely been something that I've been wanting to implement into my own organization. And I've been hearing a lot of other companies talk about doing this. So yeah, that's all the questions I've got for you for today. I was so happy that you took the time to speak with us and to do this fireside chat. And yeah, if anyone has any other questions for myself or Kalina, feel free to leave them in the comments. Also feel free to message us on LinkedIn. We'd be happy to help. All right, I'll see you all soon. I hope you have a great day, and we'll be in touch soon. All right,
Thanks for
take care.
having us.
Bye bye.